Good evening. Myself, Madhu. I'm a cybersecurity engineer.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Now, leave it about Palo Alto Firewall. First, we should discuss the firewalls. How many types of the firewalls? Now, based on a traffic filtering mechanism, firewalls falls into two categories. What are the two categories? The first generation firewalls and second generation firewalls. Now, how they falls? Now, they falls based on a traffic filtering mechanism. Based on traffic filtering mechanism. What are the first generation firewalls? What are the second generation firewalls? Here, filter means it depends on user requirements. May we can allow the traffic, may you can deny the traffic, may you can monitor the traffic, may you can configure authentication. Authentication means before access the resources, you should be authenticate. You should be configure any one action. It's already a filter. Now, the first generation firewalls. What are the first generation firewalls? How does it filter the traffic? Now, first generation firewalls. Traffic filtering based on layer 3, layer 4, layer 7. Means first generation firewalls traffic would be filtered layer 3, layer 4, layer 7. Layer 3 means based on IP addresses, based on range of network, based on host network. Host means /32. Now, layer 4 means based on a IP or TCP or UDP. It should be configured. Means port numbers, TCP or UDP port numbers, based on UDP port numbers. Layer 7 means end user traffic. It's the end user traffic. It would be filtered layer 7 traffic. Means HTTP. Now HTTPS based on 80 and 443. It's all our first generation firewalls. First generation firewalls would be filtered only layer 3, layer 4, layer 7. What are the first generation firewalls? First generation firewall is Cisco ASA is the first generation firewall. It would be filtered only layer 3, layer 4, layer 7. Now, second generation firewalls. Now, second generation firewalls. What are the second generation firewall features? How does it filter the traffic? Now, second generation firewalls. In the second generation firewalls, now it filter all first generation firewall features. Layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7. Layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7. And along with it would be filter URL filtering. Now URL filtering falls into three categories. Now, what are the categories? Now, how does it fall the three categories? Now, go with URL filtering. Now, static URL filter. Now, based on a content, it does filter the traffic. Based on a customization, it would be filter the traffic. Static URL means single URL. Assume we have facebook.com. We filter the traffic. What is the filter? Just now we was discussed filter. You can allow the traffic or lack the traffic or monitor the traffic or authentication. Please mute.
But we can't hear. It's really loud.
Yeah. Hamid should mute.
Please, there are lots of noises.
Yeah, Jabbar, please mute. Sian. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Facebook on facebook.com. It's a It's a as per user requirements. So user requirement, may you can allow the traffic or flag the traffic, monitor the traffic, configure authentication before access the Facebook. You should be authenticated. You should configure the authentication. Say content. Now, how many websites in our web? It's a lot of websites, multiple websites. Now, how does it possible based on a static URL filter? No, it doesn't possible to filter traffic based on a static URL. Now, based on a content, you would be filtered. Couple of firewalls and configurations in production scenarios almost highly recommended should have configured based on a content. Now, content means it's a very simple. Now, based on a social networking sites. What are the social networking sites? Now, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and it's all our social networking sites. Just you can flag the social networking sites. Just to flag the social networking sites, our end user drop the all packets. Now, another one, just like a job search. Just flag the job search websites. Our end users couldn't access any job search resources. Now, simple way, under one, we should go anyone. Now, here go weapons and child abuse, pornography. As per content, now you should be drop the packets, you should be configure it. As per a requirement, you should be configure the action. In the action, you should be configure any one action. Now, it's a one more feature, URL filter. Customization is very simple. Your organization having 5 websites. You should allow only 5 websites. Except 5 websites, should drop the all internet packet. Only our end users would be access only 5 websites. End user would be access 5 websites. Except 5 websites should drop the all packet. All websites. It's a URL filtering. Now, one more feature has second generation firewalls is based on a users and user endpoints. It would be filter traffic based on a users. Now, let's assume one scenario. It's my scenario, WAN, LAN. It's a WAN network and it's a LAN network. And I have 2 users. What are the users? I have normal users. I have 200 normal users. I have 10 system admin users. Now, in this scenario, my system admin status would be access all resources. They would be access all resources, and another users, they are employees, they would be access only 80 and 443 and 53 services only. They would be access. Now, how do you configure? Based on a users and user groups, we should configure. Based on a users and user groups, we should filter the traffic based on a users and user groups. We can visible and control based on users and user groups. Now, it's a one more feature as a second generation firewalls. Now, go one more feature. Now, based on a user endpoints means simply one scenario go. Let's assume one scenario. It's a firewall, WAN, LAN network. In our LAN, we have 200 PCs. Instead of the 200 PCs, 190 PCs has been running Windows 10 operating system, but 10 PCs has been running XP operating system. In this scenario, XP has a couple of vulnerabilities. Now, you are a firewall administrator. Just what you spoke to system admin guys, please update Windows XP to. You spoke to system admin guys, please update Windows XP to Windows 8 or 10 or 7. But yet they didn't listen your words. Now, simply you should configure one rule. You should configure signature based on a operating system signature, based on a OS signature. Now, you should configure drop rule. You should configure drop rule on firewall. Now, it's based on a based on a operating systems, and based on a web browsers, and we should filter the traffic. Now, another one is based on applications. Based on applications means layer 7 traffic. Means based on applications. How does it filter the traffic based on application? Based on a signatures mechanism in second generation firewalls, it does filter based on a signatures mechanism, but first generation firewall filter based on a service. Here based on a signature mechanism. Signatures means assume it's a facebook.com, one signature available in our firewall. Based on a signature, you should be configure the policy. Policy means you should configure the policy, may allow the traffic or deny the traffic. You can filter the traffic. Now layer 7 traffic, it provides visibility and control layer 7 traffic. Provides visibility and control the traffic. Means layer 7 traffic based on a signatures mechanism. How does it work? Defaultly our firewall has a defaultly signatures. It does work based on a signatures. It's provide the visibility and control the traffic. It's a one more feature. Now one more feature is based on a micro applications. It could be filter the traffic. Now go, it's a firewall. Under firewall, it's a WAN network and it's a LAN network and it's a DMZ network. And a DMZ network now should go based on a micro applications. Micro applications means it's a Facebook. Assume it's a Facebook. We have a lot of micro applications, couple of micro applications, chat and share and upload and download and like games. Now it's a base application. Under base application, we have couple of micro applications as available. These all are micro applications. Solar micro application. Instead of the base application, we have available couple of micro applications. Now traffic would be filtered based on a micro applications. Now assume it's my user. It's a user, he could be access facebook.com, but he could access only base application. He could access only base application. Just he couldn't access any micro applications. He couldn't access any micro applications. It's a best feature on second generation firewalls. Now, based on a micro applications, we would filter the traffic. Applications, we would filter the traffic. Yes. Now go. Yes, it's all our second generation firewalls. Now it's all our second generation firewalls. What are the second generation firewalls? Should be listed out. Now go, it support, it filter the traffic layer 3, layer 4, layer 7, all first generation firewall and URL filter, and it would filter based on a users, and it filter the traffic based on a user endpoints, means based on a endpoints operating systems, and it would be filter based on a applications, and it would be filter the traffic based on a micro applications. Now it would be filter the all traffic. Now go. What are the second generation firewalls? Is the Palo Alto. Now FortiGate, ASA source firepower, and checkpoint. Some market leaders. Now it's all our second generation firewalls. Yeah, now go. Now, based on a firewall categories falls into three categories based on a physical infrastructure or virtual infrastructure. Based on a firewalls falls into three categories. One is software based firewalls. Another one is just hardware based firewalls. Another one is virtual based firewalls. Now, what's the software based firewalls? Now, it could be filter the traffic. Now, software based firewalls also could be filter the traffic, but it has a lot of limitations. Now, what are the software based firewalls? All antivirus firewalls. It could be filter the traffic. You know about the filter. What is the filter? Now, and Windows firewall, and IP cap and IP fire. It's a open source firewalls. Nowadays, also couple of organizations would be using IP cap, and IP fire firewalls. It's all are software based firewalls. It would be filter the traffic, but it has a lot of limitations. Now, antivirus, Windows firewalls, IP cap and IP fire. If you want to IP cap and IP fire, should go now. IP cap and IP fire. It's a open source firewalls. Nowadays, also IP fire firewalls. We should configure VPNs also. We should configure VPN. It does support VPN also. We should configure IPsec VPN between Cisco devices also. It's an open source firewall. It's a firewall powerful. It's a open source firewall. Now, if you want to learn more, should go here, which has all features. Here it does support backup tools and proxy. It does support it act as a proxy. Now it's a first generation firewalls. Now second generation firewalls. What are the hardware based firewalls? Now hardware based firewalls is very simple. Now it's a dedicated hardware device. It's a dedicated hardware device. And the dedicated hardware device, now we installed operating system. Remember, firewalls run on operating system. Now it's a dedicated hardware device. Under dedicated hardware device, we install the operating system. OS is the operating system. Now based on a vendor, it will be changed. May it say Palo Alto, they installed PON OS. Now it's a checkpoint, they installed the Gaia operating system. It's a FortiGate, FortiOS they installed. It's a ASA, FXOS. FXOS in ASA source firewall they installed FXOS. Now Sophos also nowadays a lot of companies has been preferring to Sophos also. CyberRoam is converted as a Sophos. Now Sophos also should be installed. Now it's a dedicated hardware. The dedicated hardware they installed a operating system. Now where we can deploy? We can deploy on inline mode. Maximum I saw 90% scenarios. Now hardware based firewalls would deploy on inline mode. Inline mode. What is the inline mode? Now say all incoming traffic, outgoing traffic flowing through the firewall. All incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. All traffic flowing to the firewall. It's called a inline mode. It's a hardware based firewalls. Now let's go virtual based firewalls. Now virtual based firewalls, nowadays some organizations would be preferred to virtual based firewalls. No need to dedicated hardware devices. We should deploy on clouds and we should deploy it on OpenStack, VMware OpenStack also. Now we can deploy it on clouds. What are the types of clouds? We have two types of the clouds, private clouds and public clouds. Now we should deploy virtual editions also, private clouds. Now Salesforce is a private cloud. AWS, Azure, now OpenStack, Google Cloud. Now it's a dedicated cloud. Under dedicated cloud, we deployed a firewall. It prevent clouds. It prevent attacks against the clouds. It prevent the entire cloud against the attacks. Now it's a dedicated, no need to dedicated hardware devices. Just you can go clouds. We can go simply. We can buy the license. You should deploy the cloud-based firewalls. Nowadays, some companies would be use the cloud-based firewalls also. Now it's a firewall types, software-based firewalls, hardware-based firewalls, and cloud-based firewalls. Now firewalls would be run on operating system only. Remember, yeah. Just it's an introduction. Now go can discuss about Palo Alto Firewall. Now, why Palo Alto Firewall is very famous? We can compare it to all vendors. Now, top firewall is the Palo Alto Firewall. Why it is a top firewall? Because of the architecture. It's a we can compare to one firewall vendor to another firewall vendor. Palo Alto has a better architecture. Because of the architecture, now it's a famous. Now, what's the Palo Alto architecture? What is the key feature of the Palo Alto Firewall? We should be learn. The Palo Alto Firewall, why it has been leading the market maximum? Because of the architecture, it has been leading the market. Now it's a Palo Alto firewall. It's a dedicated hardware. Now assume it's a dedicated hardware, firewall hardware. WAN. So leave it about WAN also. Just remember, it's a dedicated hardware. The dedicated hardware split into control plane and data plane. Split into control plane and data plane. What is the control plane? What is the data plane? Now here go with one more diagram. It's a firewall. We have dedicated control plane. It's a management interface. Management interface for dedicated control plane traffic. It's a control plane traffic. Except management interface, all interfaces is called a data plane traffic. Segmented, single hardware device is segmented as a now control plane and data plane. In the control plane, we have a dedicated RAM and CPU and HDD, means storage. It's a dedicated RAM. So for control plane, we have a dedicated RAM for control plane and dedicated CPU, multi-core CPU have and dedicated HDD. Inside it has a HDD for the management plane. It's also called a control plane. We have in the data plane, we have a dedicated multi-core CPU. We have dedicated multi-core CPU and RAM. So Palo Alto architecture now should go. Now, a key feature of the Palo Alto Firewall is a very simple. Should go. Yeah, the key feature of the Palo Alto Firewall has segmentation in data plane and control plane. It's a control plane. It belongs to only management, high availability and high speed login and route updates. It's a control plane. We have a dedicated data plane. In the dedicated data plane, we have a 3 engines. dedicated signature matching engine. Why we need to dedicated signature matching engine? Our Palo Alto Firewall has a vulnerability protection, means it protects against the vulnerabilities from inside organizations, and viruses, it protects against viruses, spywares, and command and control bots. Bots is called a command and controls, and SSL means social security numbers. It's all called social network security numbers and signatures. Now, any vulnerability, any content ID means now firewall scan the traffic, which traffic is flowing to the firewall. Firewall scan the traffic. The traffic has any malicious files or any spywares or exploits or malicious payloads. Now it has any malwares, it has any adwares. It does identify the traffic. It prevents our organizations. How does it work? It does work based on a signatures mechanism. In our data plane, we have a signature matching engine here. It's a signature matching hardware engine. Now again, multi-core security processor. In our data plane, we have a multi-core security processor. Now high density processing for flexibility. It has a hardware accelerator. Maybe it has a hardware accelerator. Now when you can performing the tasks means IPsec VPN means we can decrypt the multiple tunnels and we can configure the SSL inspection. SSL inspection is called a HTTPS inspection. HTTPS inspection is called a SSL inspection. Later classes we will be discuss about more in depth of SSL inspection. Now based on a model, it has available the CPUs cores. Based on a model, it has split it into the cores. CPU 1, CPU 2, CPU 3. We have couple of CPUs, but based on a model number. It's a low level model, it's a high level model. High level model as a high level hardware model has a multiple core CPUs. Now it perform itself, it has a hardware accelerator also. When it perform the multiple tasks itself, it accelerates the hardwares, SSL inspections and IPsec compressions and decryptions. It's a dedicated multi-core security processor. It has dedicated multi-core security processor, and we have data plane, we have a network processor. Now how to forward the packet? Based on a MAC lookup, based on a route lookup, based on a QoS, based on a NAT lookup, we would forward the traffic. We have a dedicated network processor. We have a dedicated network processor. Now in our data plane is different, control plane is different. Both are splitted into single hardware. Now both hardwares are different. Again, we have data plane has a, now we have CPUs. Now control plane has a CPU. RAM, hard disk is different. Complete architecture is different. Now software. What about the software? Now how does it work? Now SP3 architecture. What is the SP3 architecture? Single pass software. It's called a single pass software. What is the single pass software? And parallel processing the hardware. What is the single pass software? What is the parallel processing the hardware? What is the single pass software? What is the parallel processing hardware? Now in the single pass software means multiple actions done on one time. Now single pass software means multiple actions done on one time. It's called a single pass software. Parallel processing hardware means here we have our hardware split into dedicated control plane and data plane. Now it's our hardware. The hardware it has a control plane and data plane. So hardware split into control plane and data plane. Now software SP3 architecture, single pass software. Now we have multiple actions done on one time. Once packet is arrived to the firewall, it does multiple actions. Now it should be check the lookup, MAC lookup, L2 lookup, L3 lookup, HA lookup, and NAT lookup. And app ID. App ID means it does identify the applications based on signatures. User ID. It does identify the user ID information, which user has connected. It would be visible all user ID, users information. Content ID means in the which traffic is flowing to the firewall. It inspects the packet. What are the any malicious payloads, malicious viruses, and malicious spywares, any command and control bots, everything. It doesn't matter any malicious data inside of the and policy engine. It should be check the policy engine. Means based on a policy, it would be forward the traffic. Once packet arrive to the firewall, now couple of multiple actions done on one time because of the SP3 architecture. You can go any another firewall, it doesn't done multiple actions in done one time. One action after on one more action. Firewall forward to the network, after forward to the app ID, after forward to the user ID, after forward to the content ID. Means one by one, it would be forward. Now it degrade the network performance. Once packet is arrived to the firewall, multiple actions not done in one time, one action after one more action. Now means it impact after your network performance, it degrade the network performance. But Palo Alto Firewall, once packet is arrived to the firewall, multiple actions done on one time. Now it more impact of your network performance. There is no rebuffering concept in our Palo Alto Firewall. Now go. SP3 architecture is very simple. Now single pass software. Once packet is arrived to the firewall, it's a based on a L2 lookup, it forward the packet. L3 lookup forward HA, high availability, configuration management and reporting. It should be check user ID information, app ID. Now it inspect all. Content ID, what is the inside of the packet? Policy engine, based on a policy, it would be forward the traffic. Now it all are actions done on one time. That's called a single pass software. Now multiple actions done on one time. That's called a single pass software. Now data plane, parallel processing hardware. Now parallel processing hardware, we split it into control plane and data plane. Parallel processing hardware. Now control plane is different and data plane is different. Control plane belongs to management, configuration, login and reporting. What do you want to configure in your firewall? You should be configured through the control plane. Now we have a dedicated CPU, RAM and storage for control plane. For data plane, we have a 3 matching engines. Now for data plane, we have a dedicated RAM and dedicated CPU for the data plane. We have signature matching engine. It prevents against the viruses, worms and vulnerabilities and command and control numbers and the social security numbers. It's a signature matching engine. It works based on a signature. Here security processing. Now here it has a hardware accelerator. It do app ID based on applications. It does identify the traffic. Now, yeah, sure. Based on your applications, it could identify the traffic. Based on your users, it could identify the traffic. URLs, based on your URLs, you should match. Policy match means which policy has matched the traffic. Which policy has matched the traffic, it does identify. Now, app decoding means decoding based on a multi-level decoding. Now, once any application arrives to the firewall, it does multi-level decoding, layer 4 decoding also. SSL and IPsec VPN configurations, decompression. Now, because of the SSL IPsec VPNs, we can use the decompressions, and SSL inspection also, we can use the decompressions. Now, network processing. Now, how to forward the packet? We have a dedicated engine for network processing, how to forward the packet. Now, flow control. Flow control means traffic from splitted one to another. Here our firewall is called a zone-based firewall. Zone-based firewall means say firewall we split it into the zones. Our data plane traffic split it into the zones. It's a trust, it's a untrust zone. Now it's a trust zone, it's a DMZ zone. Now it's a zone-based firewall. Flow control means we can configure the policies or flows or allow the traffic from LAN to DMZ or LAN to WAN. It's all are called a flow control and policy engine. Now go route lookup. Based on a L3 lookup, it forward the packet. MAC lookup. Based on a L2, it lookup. QoS, quality of service, and NAT policy lookup, it forward the traffic. Now it's a based on a parallel processing. Now SP3 architecture, single firewall split it into control plane and data plane. Control plane is different, data plane is different. How to forward the packet. Now it's everything. Now go with Palo Alto Firewall hardwares. In our Palo Alto Firewall, we have 3 models of the hardware, small models. Now small models, small and SMB models. Now, say we can use the remote branch ends. Our small size organizations would be preferred to the small models, PA200 and PA500. Now, the small size organizations, they would be preferred. It's the small size models. Medium size, PA500 and PA300. It's a medium size models. The PA300 and PA500 is the medium size models. Would be recommended small size and small and medium size organizations. They would be preferred. Our maximum production scenarios, they would be preferred to the remote branch sites. Remote branch sites always would be preferred to the PA500 and PA300. Now, large network. Say should be large network, ISPs and data centers. Should go large network, ISPs and data centers. They need to high-end configurations, high-end processing capabilities. They need to high-end devices. Now, PA3000, 5000, 7000, they would be recommended. Now, go assume it's a remote office. Now, here PA500, PA2000, PA4000, and PA5000 also available. PA6000 also available. Now, 7000 also available. 7000 is the high-end model. Okay. Now, based on a model, now firewall throughput depends. Now, throughput means how much traffic is incoming, how much traffic is outgoing. It's all are called a throughput. Now, here content ID throughput means threat prevention. We have a dedicated two throughputs: firewall throughput, total throughput, and threat prevention means a firewall scan the traffic, means it has any vulnerabilities, it has any malwares, it has any spywares. That's all are called a threat prevention throughput. Now, we have total throughput is different, threat prevention throughput is different. It would be changed based on a model number. We can go high-end model, they have a firewall throughput is different and threat prevention throughput is different. Now, here go. Now, 250 Mbps PA500, 100 Mbps for threat prevention. With 500, 200, 1 Gbps. Here 500 Mbps. Here 2 Gbps, 2 Gbps for the threat prevention. 2 Gbps for the threat prevention. Now, here you should go change 100 Gbps and 5 Gbps for the threat prevention. Now, 10 Gbps, 5 Gbps for the threat prevention. We have available Ethernet ports and SFE cables. Now, SFE cables also available. High-end models, we have available XFE ports. It's a high-end data transfers. Here it's a SFE cables. We have available Ethernet ports and SFE cables. Now, high-end models only, low-end models it's not available. It's a high-end data transfer between two devices. It's a high-end processing capabilities. Now, hardware size, based on a hardware size, it's available. Palo Alto network hardware checklist. What is the Palo Alto network hardware checklist? Business size, you should be identified that it's a small or medium or enterprise or ISPs or data center. You should identify performance based on a internet bandwidth also. Now, if you want to perform, it should be based on a internet bandwidth. Expected connections, how many concurrent connections, Concurrent means current connections, and sections, how many VPN sections, how many VPN users, which type of VPNs do you want? Do you want go site-to-site VPN or site-to multi-site VPNs would be configured? Which security features do you want to enable? It's all our security features enabled. Which security features we want to enable? Security features enabled. Next generation firewall, IPS and FID. So it depends on organization requirements. Now, here we have two types of the hardware components. Now, we have two types of the hardware components, desktop and rack mount. It's a desktop form. It's a desktop firewalls. Now, in the firewall, we have split it into data plane and control plane. Here, it's all our data plane interfaces. Now, management interface is the control plane. Now, it's a console. It's a dedicated console. We should be connect the firewall to system to access the control. We have desktop form and rack mount form. Desktop form is different, rack mount form is different. desktop form is different, rack mount form is different. What is the desktop? PA200 is a desktop form.
There are a lot
Rack
of
mount.
noises.
Yeah. Now PA500 is the rack mount form. Now here we have, there is no differences between, just for user requirements they would be selected for desktop form or rack mount form. There is no differences between both.
Sir, so could you kindly explain about that VM based, like we don't have the physical hardware, so how that time it will be working, that management, data plane and control?
Sorry, could we repeat question?
Yeah, sure. So like right now we can find it out, like they're having two kind of plane are there. You have explained earlier, like data plane and management plane. Now when we are running with VM, so that time it will be using that processor of this ESX box or maybe OpenStack or maybe anything.
It doesn't belong to hardware, it does belong to software. Inbuilt the software, it has split it.
Okay. But over here earlier you have explained only two plane. Exactly how many plane will be there in that?
The two plane same on VM as well as data plane and control plane. It's splitted on software, not in hardware. So we can't split it into hardware. What you did in physical hardware as a operating system, fulfilled as a operating system. Virtual also same. It's the same operating system is available.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Now, Ethernet ports, we have Ethernet ports, we have dedicated console port, say, and go with, we have dedicated management port. Just now we was discussed. It's a firewall. We have dedicated management port. It belongs to control plane. And HAs, you can go high-end models. You can check high-end models. High-end models would have available high availability ports also. High-end models would available now HA ports also. Now, how many types of the ports? It's available Ethernet ports and console ports and management ports. We have dedicated management interface and high availability ports. What are the high availability ports? Now, it's available only dedicated models. We have SFE cables. It's all our XFE cables models. Now, high-end models is a chassis model. Now, it's a chassis model. Now, here dedicated, it's a physical hardware. Now, in the physical hardware, now, you can put the active standby failovers also. It does support. Okay. Now, based on a license, it does support it. Your active standby, so doesn't matter. So, chassis model, it's available Ethernet ports. It's all our Ethernet ports, and it's available based on a SFE cables. Why? Because high-end data centers would be use the SFE cables. Now, we have dedicated devices, a panorama. Now, we have dedicated devices, a panorama. We can Palo Alto Firewall could manage on two types. Now, what are the two types? We could manage Palo Alto Firewall two types. One is local administration. Through HTTPS, it's a firewall. Through HTTPS, now through 443, through 443, we can access the firewall. HTTPS means it's a local administration, remote administration. Now we have multiple firewalls in our organizations. Now it's a firewall 1 and firewall 2 and firewall 3 and firewall 4. We have a couple of firewalls. Now we have dedicated one device is the panorama. It's a panorama device. Now it connected with multiple firewalls. Once it connected with multiple firewalls, now we can configure the policies. For firewall 1, push the policies. We can configure the policies. For firewall 2, we can push the policies. We can configure the policies for firewall 3, we push the policies. We can configure the policies for firewall 4 and we can push the policies. Means through Panorama, we can manage multiple firewalls. Yes, our lab topology is very simple. Our lab topology is, it's a firewall. We can use VMware, WAN network, LAN network, and DMZ network. It's a dedicated management interface for control plane. Now, what's the topology? Here I have one Cisco router. My Cisco router IP address is 192.168.100.1. My WAN IP address is 192.168.100.200. My management interface IP address is 192.168.100.210. All are /24 subnet maps. My LAN network IP address is 192.168.101.1/34. My DMZ 10.2.0.145/24. I have one LAN PC, dedicated LAN PC. I have 3 DMZ servers. Server 1, server 2, and server 3. 10, 2, 0, 11, 22, 33. Here I have one PC. PC address is 192.168.101.100 is my PC address. So my lab topology. Now, as per our topology, we can implement tomorrow class. Yeah, could you have any doubts? Please ask me. Hello.
This is just a basic implementation of the firewall, right?
Yeah.
So, sir, are you going to explain us like type of license and all?
Yeah. We have type of license, how to activate everything. I will be explaining.
Please, sir, can you?
And suppose we have that basic license. Now we have to upgrade that. So for that,
it's not available. It's a very easy concept. It doesn't matter. It's a license.
Okay, all right.
Okay, sir. Please, can we get the PDF?
No, yeah, we have a lab material. It belongs to Palo Alto. It's a Palo Alto lab material has designed Palo Alto networks. It's designed for exam purpose completely. We have lab material. I will share you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go admin guide. Through admin guide, you can get it. But it's a 1,000 pages. Yeah, tell me, any other has doubts?
So I have a question about the HA port.
Yeah.
You said it's
the 8.x version. 1 minute. 8x version we are using 8.0.1. Yeah, tell me what about your HA doubt?
So the question I have is, you mentioned that the HA port will be only available in the high-end models. So, and like for example, PA500 or PA200 won't have
we can
HA port.
Ethernet ports converted as a HA ports.
Okay. But for the higher end model, you can have a dedicated QSFP.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it depends on license. Maximum protection scenarios would be recommended active or active standby. ASA also concept multiple physical firewalls is act as one logical firewall, but here won't prefer to multiple scenarios for Palo Alto. Maximum we can configure active or active standby. Yes, tell me. Yeah, tomorrow was a bit slow. We'll configure the class tomorrow.
So, Madhu, I would assume that the recording would be available for us for revision.
No recording available for her.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hi there,
Yeah.
this is Samir. Can you please let me know, will we do the multi-tenancy in this? Multi-tenancy, just like in Fortinet we do the VDOMs.
Yeah, we can split into single firewall into multiple firewalls. It's based on the license.
So will we do it?
Yeah, we won't do. I will show theory everything, but it needs to license. It's a high-end costly. Palo Alto license is a high-end costly.
But is there any free stuff like that? For example, if you talk about Fortinet provides 10 VDOMs initially. So if you want to go to more than 10 VDOMs, so you have to buy the license. So is there such thing in PAN as well?
No. Everything you should buy the money only in one.
Okay. So what about the recording you were saying that we will get the recording at the end of the course, or we will not get it?
No. Okay, we should talk to later. Okay, should we continue tomorrow class?
So I think, hello?
Yeah, tell me.
I think that recording is very difficult.
Yeah, we'll go tomorrow.